Hey everyone, welcome back to the Banana Thumbnail Podcast, where we bring thumbnails to life to crush the competition. Today we've got something really cool to chat about. Absolutely. We're diving into the fascinating world of turning those rough napkin sketches into stunning 4K renders. That's right. It's incredible how the sketch-to-render workflow is evolving. Did you know that cloud rendering projects in VFX jumped from 15,000 in 2023 to 28,000 in 2024? Wow, that's a massive increase. So it sounds like people are really pushing their ideas into production much faster now. Exactly. I mean, think about it. You're at a coffee shop, scribbling down what you think is the next blockbuster idea on a napkin, right? But then you look at it and think, this looks like a potato. Yeah, I can relate. There's often a huge gap between our rough ideas and what we envision for the final product. For sure. But today we're going to talk about how that gap is closing and what tools are available to help creators, architects, and designers streamline this process in 2025. So what does a modern sketch-to-render workflow actually look like? Great question. It's not just about scanning a drawing and calling it a day. It's more like a pipeline where you take a 2D concept and use a mix of 3D modeling and AI tools to create a photorealistic image. Interesting. AI tools, how do they actually fit into this process? Well, the biggest shift recently has been the integration of AI. In the past, you'd have to manually model every single polygon. Now, if you have a sketch, you can use tools like Stable, Diffusion, or Adobe Firefly. They interpret those lines and generate textures, lighting, and depth information for you. That sounds like a game changer. So it's not really cheating? It's just a new way of working? Exactly. It allows you to visualize ideas much faster. Plus, with cloud rendering investments on the rise, creators can now get high-quality visuals without waiting weeks for renders. That's wild. But I can imagine some people trying this for the first time might face some challenges. Absolutely, a lot of beginners might try feeding a napkin sketch into an AI tool and get really disappointing results. I'd say about 40% of people do this and end up with something that looks, well, not great. So what's going wrong for them? Most of the time it starts with the sketch. If your horizon line is crooked or the perspective is off, the software will struggle to correct it. Computers are notoriously bad at guessing. That makes sense. So what do you recommend to avoid these pitfalls? Alex, a pro tip is to run your rough sketch through a basic perspective grid overlay before you start rendering. Make sure your basics are solid, horizon line straight, consistent vanishing points, and lighting indicated. Right. So checking those fundamentals is crucial. Definitely. And once you have that down, you can follow a solid workflow. I usually break it down into 4 steps. First, snap a photo of your napkin drawing and clean it up in an app like Procreate or Photoshop. Got it? And then what? Second, create a 3D blockout. This step is often skipped, but it's key. You don't need details, just get the depth and perspective right with simple shapes. Okay, and then comes the fun part with AI, right? Exactly. The third step is AI interpretation, where you use tools that support features like ControlNet to help the AI understand the structure and style of your sketch. I love that. And what's the final step? The final step is upscaling. You usually generate your render at 1080p initially, and then you need a good upscaler to bring it up to 4K. If you don't have a quality upscaler, your image could end up looking blurry. Oh wow, that sounds important. So if someone's doing this for the first time, what mistakes should they watch out for? There are a few common traps. One is ignoring resolution. If you render at 720p, it's going to look terrible on a large screen, right? And I guess over-relying on AI could be another issue? Absolutely. If you let AI do all the work, you might end up with something that feels generic. Your sketch should guide the composition. So it really sounds like it's about finding a balance between using the tools and keeping the creativity alive. Exactly. And if you're starting out, just grab a napkin and draw. Don't stress about the software just yet. Focus on building a workflow that allows for quick iterations. That's solid advice. So to wrap things up, what do you think are the biggest takeaways for our listeners? I think the key is understanding that sketching to render is all about refining your process. The tools are there to support your creativity, so use them wisely. And remember to check those fundamentals. Thanks for sharing all this insight, Alex. My pleasure. And that's a wrap for this episode of Banana Thumbnail Podcast. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.